Hello, everyone. I'm Jamie Price. We are covering our next topic as we move through enhancing our connection, which is the overall energies of the year. And of course, this is both your inner connection, that human higher self or subtle self connection, and it's your healthy flow of energy connecting into the external so that your loving creative harmonic is consistently holding those higher potentials for your life and for the future of life on earth. And this is natural to us. So we're just being more conscious, more purposeful with it in the moment so that you're utilizing your divine birthright of creativity and not just reacting to life or having your vital, sacred life force absconded by disempowerment narratives, fear, worry, etc. And May marked a turning point of navigating change for many more months as more of that impeccable mental flow, well, and emotional, but especially mental for us so that we're applying the best use of our creative focus because humanity has a tendency for mental weakness. So we're working on strengthening our mental focus. And this is going to continue at least through September. And then we reach another turning point of expression, another turning point of expansion. And of course, those can be synonymous, even though they aren't always. Now, this month's focus is unknowns and opposites. And I love this. It is such a clear exercise on opening the mind, which we focused a lot on last month, so that we're connecting to potentials, which is another word for unknowns, and directly applying your creative focus so that those opposites are not perceived as just negatives. They actually offer completion for new form, which is like the subatomic model that Ariane talks about so often. And this always begins as an unknown or a potential. That's what the future is. And with the overall energies of connection this year and entering the mouth of the dragon, which Ariane says is a process that occurs over time, we're moving through a spherical energy flow that is a natural flow of movement as that spiral is tightening into a faster flow and intensifying change. And of course, in the external, we see this as more chaos. And yet, your work is to not let others' story just become your own. Hold your creative harmonic, connect with it. Kind of like a paramedic would do. They stay very focused and balanced in a chaotic moment so that they can help. And of course, they have to also allow the processing of any kind of trauma so that they remain balanced in their lives overall and able to continue support or creative flow. And this is what you're doing. You're not ignoring the world and you're not immersed in the energy of it as it is. And of course, skeptics or manipulators would say, oh, you don't care. You're just living in the clouds. But we know better. You're doing the creative work that actually brings deep and lasting change, that allows those new potentials to form here in the physical through time. So you're not in the world. You are in the world, but you're not of it. And this is where unknowns and opposites become more obvious. So let's actually talk about them individually first. Unknown or potential is the future and it's the past, meaning from a linear perspective, in your present moment, which is where your full creative power is, the past and the future are now subtle, and therefore they're malleable energy that responds to your present moment resonance. So be in the oneness, relax into the present moment more, and allow the potentials, the unknown, to connect with your present resonance, your loving focus. And these are all topics that we've been detailing through each month so that you're more peaceful with your creative harmonic. You're being the potentials that you want to experience in this world. And this creates those potentials here. It affects your life. It ripples out and affects all those you're interacting with. It ripples out and it affects the field of information that we are all immersed in. And the light language transmission is going to really support this. So, your work this month is to apply your internal action of heart mind connection, which we focused a lot on last month, your human higher self connection, and relax the binds of linear time to allow flow, to allow those unknowns and be in that connection, that oneness more, so that the unknowns are the higher potentials or the creative harmonic of your peace, your love, your joy, your knowingness of the potentials that can occur here in the physical realm, that life is fail-safe towards love. That's the natural flow of loving evolution. Unknowns can naturally create fear in people. So here we are focusing to soothe that sweet ego that is just a function of linear time and physicality. It just helps to keep you alive so that as you soothe that, your survival mechanism relaxes into the peace that passes all understanding. And it doesn't ignore all understanding, it encompasses all understanding because you're following your inner compass, your heart, your infinite, your higher subtle self, your divine nature. And again, the light language will support this beautifully. And this is how the opposites become the completion. When control is soothed out of a fear response into a creative response, instead of being reactive or resistant to life, you're creative. And the word reactive and creative, they are only different by where the letter C is placed. In reactive, the C is in the middle of the word. And in creative, it's at the beginning, meaning that you see more clearly. You have that foresight with creativity instead of your sight being blocked by the cloud of negativity or what can feel like opposition. Go back to that subatomic model. It's the neutron or your neutrality that provides your stability to change. So be neutral with what's occurring as much as possible, which sometimes means it's up and down. You have to release some emotions in healthy ways and then reframe those opposites into what they truly are, an opportunity to refine your creative focus, to refine your resonance so that you are being that potential. You're being in the oneness of life and honoring your subtle nature. And this specifically builds on the last healing intention from the May video of what new potentials can I open my mind to? Those are the unknowns. And it's really good for that to combine with the reframing exercise from the February video so that opposites are perceived as potentials. They're perceived as opportunities. And then you're blending the unknowns and opposites into the loving opportunity that they are. That's what our important work over these next 6 months is going to be all about. Watch that mental flow so that it's staying more creative and conscious. Now, for those of you that want to learn light language live with me, or maybe you just want to expand the light language that has just begun for you, I am teaching the final class of the year beginning September 9th. So visit my website, jamieprice.com, especially to take advantage of the early discount. Light language is such a powerful way of opening your mind and connecting that with the heart or your nonlinear flow of information more consciously. And our unknowns are a natural part of life. This is a function of creativity. It's a function of linear time, your subtle nature, something that we are connecting more consciously. And in the light language this month, it is a really powerful activation that blends your masculine and feminine energetics so that it's a greater clarity of directing your energy and yet being that peaceful, nurturing sustainer of potentials that your sacred realm is. And that soothes you into the connection of your universal flow or your oneness. And this transmission is helping to support that fullness of that spherical flow of time or the connective movement as it's intensifying and we are becoming more clear with our creativity so that the linear and the non-linear is becoming much more experiential for you. And some of you might notice in this transmission that there's an opening of past or future gifts because that time blend and the masculine, feminine, peaceful strength was really opening up that deeper connection with the subtle self or the time aspect of you that's infinite. And such a powerful reminder within it that you are sacred. You are a fractal of the universe, and a very clear message within it that creation is like breathing. It's innate. So relax into it more. Let the unknowns and the opposites be spacious and fulfilling, kind of like that excitement when you know that something wonderful is about to occur, or like the embrace of a breeze instead of that grip of fear-based control. You are a leader in light. That's the foresight of the future. It's the freedom of potential. That's what unknowns are. And you are connecting the creative harmonic of those higher potentials into the human experience. The unknown is the details, the how and the when. The opposite is that path of completion into new form. And just like that subatomic model indicates, that's invisible at first. It's an unknown. And yet that opposite that you're connecting into new form, it's connected to the next incompletion or the next creative step. And then the next completion, then the next unknown. It's pure potential as you're dancing in between those forms of creation, of opposites and unknowns. And it's always connected through the love in you, the neutrality. I hope you have a powerful June and enjoy the light language.
Hebrorum stana atsar krayeretet erum. Brema anstaya kroretet in a suit jar krayer ormem. Brel knandat adshayerut sum jar knandat edet. Kremat nun sachayrut werma. Habramat an sakrayerat handi an derum anstayru at utsukroerma. Bremehat anat shayerut unu urkrat ed. Haramat shairot unum sukroremem, bram steirenet serch ukrortant, kayama orakanat, krama at shairot unuma, grenet irenat al rono okuam, bramhat an sachakrayat unum sakroret. Krandat an san steirumat urum, bral rananat krandat ham, bram an sat shairot unum, kar krandat am sukrormea, al reteat anot suam. Ramam an shairot urukorat and knend. Kranant an suchum bram grandat al renendat im sunjar grandat harut tukua kam. Broma I sancharak grandat nem sukrurum em brorum at an sakrurit ken rekrandat irum hat yet shur krorit and kam akrayandot urum em asochum. Haramand sur kror tand id en an secharant. Krormat il renendet hem urur sukor tand kdendit. Dem hotsum shano tur pat grandet herum such krayratand na. Haranandet im at suchandut krema urit sen sirikriel im brimachun nan krayar grandat an klelerb an sachur mar in de grandat hanen. Brand dat a kriet such and yet nim. Rema o and a klal renand itseam. Stamot sum charkroratan kenet in krum a. Hermat and the sut and shakrandat him. Brandat id erat sakradlal im. Bror krayet und krorema. Ham utshum sant krandat andat eklal rima. Bremat nun sukoram. Nan steirumat an grandat an til ramaa grandat hem suchorum ka grandat amot anan sachairut huema kra anat num at suchandi sened an creat kam urmed ta gransa.